Okay.
Thank you. Like she said, my name's Tommy Craven. I'm going to tell a little bit more about myself here in a minute. But, this is the first time I'm doing this presentation, so if it kind of gets a little off subject, I'm sorry about that. But it should all be pretty informative to you guys. Some of the stuff you guys might already know or think is common sense, but hopefully you learned something from it. I would like to go around and get your names and what grade you're in, because some of the stuff in the presentation is kind of geared towards either freshmen or geared towards seniors, so I just kind of want to get a vibe. So I'm going to start.
Ben, 8th grade.
Okay.
And Miss Ray.
Thomas, junior. Jack, sophomore.
Haley, senior.
Okay. Sounds good. Just a little bit more about me. I just graduated from Jasper High School in May, finally. In the fall, I'm going to be headed to New York University, where I'm majoring in film, business, and theater. I'm going to talk more about these scholarships here in a minute, but I'm a Point Scholar and a Horatio Alger Scholar, and I am an eBay entrepreneur, which I got that experience working with Vicki. I had her boot camp when I was an 8th grader going into my freshman year. Me and my friend John Fierce actually started a small business called Vision Advertising, and we did website designs for some companies, and we actually made a couple $100 off that, and ever since then we kind of quit doing that because it was really time consuming. So I started doing eBay on my own, and I've done it since a freshman. I don't know how much money I've made, but it's been a lot, and I sell stuff for my family, my friends, myself. I go through clothes, so if I buy something and then 3 months later I don't want it anymore, I sell it and then buy something new with it. So recycling your stuff is kind of what I do. Just to tell you a little bit about what I did in high school. I wasn't at the top of my class, or what you consider the top of the class. I was 20th out of 250. I had a 3.8 GPA on a non-weighted scale and a 4.21 on a weighted scale. And then some of the clubs I was involved in, I tried to do community service like Key Club, student council, performing arts. I got involved in the theater and choir and stuff like that. And then Business Professionals of America is one of the organizations that I really excelled at. And I was in it for all 4 years from a freshman, and it's a really neat organization that you take business classes and then you compete in events that kind of match the curriculum. So I was in the accounting class, so I took an accounting competition, and you compete at district, state, and national level. So I went to Reno 1 year, Anaheim, California 1 year, and recently I was in Washington, D.C. Also in this organization, I assumed 3 leadership roles. I was a district president, and then I was state president for Indiana, and now I'm currently the national treasurer for the entire United States for BPA. I'm going to be holding that position as a freshman in college, and then after that I'll be done with BPA. As far as a student member, I'll probably go into it and try to do something as an adult. I don't know what yet. And then I also did awareness activities, such as anti-drinking and drug and substance abuse, and I went to elementary schools to kind of tell them about that. The reason I bring up all my activities is because I want to show you that I had a wide range of activities. I didn't try to focus just on sports or just on art. I try to take a lot of things and to expand my interests. Which brings up the importance of extracurricular activities. For your seniors and even some middle schoolers, are you guys pretty involved in your school?
Yeah.
Okay. That's only going to help you the more you get involved as a freshman, especially for you guys coming in, and as you guys probably know, the more you get involved, it's only going to help you in the future. One reason extracurricular activities are so important is because it allows you to explore interests. It's very important as a freshman to try to get involved in organizations and clubs. Don't be scared because there's older people in it. Just try to find in the school and figure out what you like and what you don't like. The worst thing that can happen is you don't like the club, and you can kind of ixnay that out as a possible career choice. But you can, I didn't know I wanted to do business, and then I joined BPA, and now I'm going to major in business. So you can really find something you enjoy, and extracurricular activities allow you to do that. What it also allows you to do is network. There's 2 aspects of networking with extracurricular activities. One is you obviously get to connect with your classmates more and find friends, but one of the more important things that you get to do is find people outside of your school and even outside of your state. One thing that I did is I went to National Leadership Conference for Business Professionals of America, and I was able to meet kids from all over the state, which really expands your networking. If you end up going to school in, say, Florida and you don't have any friends, you might have met someone before in high school. Another aspect is adults. I'm going to talk about this more when I talk about scholarship, but whenever you start applying for colleges and scholarships, recommendation letters is a huge part of that. One thing you can network with is finding adults who really see the potential in you. Like Vicky is someone I consider an adult who I would ask a recommendation letter for, because she knows who I am, she knows the work I've done, and she can vouch for how good I would be for a scholarship or a college. So really, even though there's going to be teachers you don't like, there's teachers that you will like, and it's really good to form a good relationship with them, because it's only going to help you in the future. What colleges and scholarships are going to look at is at your extracurricular activities is going to show that you are committed to something other than being at the school from 8 to 3. I even consider working an extracurricular activity. I've had a job since I was in 7th grade, and colleges really like that because it shows that you didn't just get off school at 3 and then go and watch TV all night. It showed that you did something, and they're going to really like that. Also, try to take leadership roles. Underclassmen don't necessarily have to worry about that as much, but it's good if you do. For upperclassmen, it's really good to not only be in the organization or club, but to take leadership roles, because after you've been there for a couple of years, you kind of know what the club is about, and it's really good for you to give that knowledge to younger students, and colleges are going to look at that and say, wow, they really stood out in that club instead of just being in it. So over on the right, I have things to remember. Ensure variety. Like I said, I had everything from community service to business to theater arts, and it really shows my range of things that I can do, and colleges and scholarships really like that. Leadership over membership, and what I mean by that is a scholarship is going to be, or a college is going to be a lot more impressed with you if you have two clubs that you have leadership roles in, rather than just being a member of 10 clubs. If you can stand out in a couple of clubs instead of just being a part of many, it looks a lot better. And then stay involved. Like if you join a club freshman year and you really like it, stay in it all 4 years. The longer you're in a club, it's going to show your commitment, which is something that they like. And don't overwhelm yourself. Your freshman year to senior year, the workload only gets harder, and you only have more stuff to do, and you get a car, and it just opens up, and you want to make sure that
you really need to know how to manage your time.
Yeah, exactly. Because if you overwhelm yourself, your work isn't going to be, the quality of work isn't going to be as high, and that's something you want to keep in mind. Like this senior year, I had senior curriculums. I was applying for college, scholarships, all that, and sometimes I felt overwhelmed, but I didn't let it affect my quality of work that came out, so that's important.
You were never overwhelmed, were you, Tommy?
Never, yeah.
I think a few times you were pulling your hair out.
Yeah. There's going to be times where you're like, how do I do this? But, I mean, there's a difference between being a little bit overwhelmed and just not being able to produce your work. Yeah. Talking about high school curriculum, I kind of took a different path than a lot of people. As far as different high schools do it differently, but mine weights classes that are math and science oriented. So if you get an A in a math or a science, you're going to get like a 4.9, versus a business or art class. If you get an A, you're going to get a 4.0 in that class. So it really, a lot of people just take the sciences and math classes even if they don't want to go into that, just because the school forces you to. If your school is set up like that, or any variation of that, I really want you to try to stay away from that. Explore your interests. Like when you're signing up for classes, if there's a cooking class and it might not boost your GPA, but you really want to explore that, take it. Because this high school is the time to do that. Once you get to college, then you need to be taking classes that are towards your major. But right now in high school, it's only there so you can find the things that you want to do. And like I said, take focus off the grades. I'm not saying that you don't need to try, but just because you get a B, it doesn't matter. As long as you were in a class that you were learning something for your future, it's the most important. And like I could have been the top of my class. I could have been valedictorian if I would have taken math and sciences, but I chose not to do that. I took business and art classes, and it taught me a lot more about the career path that I'm going into instead of giving me that title. Which, in a little bit, I'll explain that scholarships and colleges take that into mind, and being the top of your class doesn't always mean you're going to get the scholarships. I kind of said this already, but put focus on your future. Take stuff that you know you're going to be interested in after high school. Make good relationships with the teachers. They're only going to help you, like I said, with recommendation letters. And one thing I learned is that everything you learn is important. This year, my senior year, I got a C in calculus. I probably shouldn't have taken calculus because I'm not good at math, but I took it anyways because I was going to need it for college. And I got a C, which was my first C ever, and I was really bummed that my math teacher told me, like, whether you got out of this what you needed or not, it at least taught you how to critical think. It's going to help you be able to study for other classes. It taught you, like, how to study and how to be a better student. So everything you learn is important in high school. So I'm going to brag on myself a little bit, but it's only for your benefit. These are my scholarships that I got. The first one, I'll just explain kind of like the procedure I went through and kind of what I got out of it. The first one was the Horatio Alger, which is $5,000 a year. I did that from applying for it, and I had an application and an essay and a recommendation letter. And I sent that in, and not only did I get the money, but I also got a free trip to Washington, D.C., where I got to make a lot of contacts. One contact in particular I made was Leonardo DiCaprio. So I have his email address. If I want, I can have his phone number. And that's the kind of, these scholarships not only give you the money, but it also expands your networking. And that's really beneficial for me because I want to go in the film business. But there's people there who wanted to go into medicine, and they had contacts for them for the best doctors in the United States. And so that's what it gave me. The Point Foundation, same thing. It was $16,000 a year for me to go to college. I got an all-expense-paid trip to San Francisco. I got to meet contacts, nothing as big as Leonardo DiCaprio, but still people that if I needed help with anything, they would be there for me. The BPA National Scholarship was $1,000 a year. I got that from just being in BPA for all 4 years and excelling in my leadership roles. Same thing with student council, being in student council for 4 years and holding officer positions. Optimist Club and Eagles Club were local scholarships that I got just by applying. I didn't have to write an essay. It was just an application based. And then NYU gave me $30,000 a year to go to their school just based on my grades and my leadership roles. So I totaled $53,300 a year in scholarships, and to attend NYU it was $58,000 a year, which is extremely expensive for a school. IU is about a third of that if you want to stay in state, but since I'm going out of state, it's a lot more. So I was able to go to the school I wanted, a top school, and only have to take out about $5,000 in loans, which is crazy. And like I contribute that to everything I did in high school. And so I'll kind of explain what I think you should do for the scholarship procedure to ensure that you guys can get them and have the same success that I did. You guys are 8th graders, but still keep in mind that you're starting as a freshman building your resume, so you got to start as a freshman and work your way up. So you're going to be a senior, you said?
Yeah.
Okay. So
I'm
like
kind of a senior. I might graduate midterm. So I have 3 classes left.
Either way, I started applying for scholarships in college about a year ago, in the summer of my senior year. One thing I always say keep in mind is when you're looking for these colleges and scholarships and you're finding them, make sure you make a list of due dates. Sometimes they will be like, you need to turn your application this day, your essay this day, you have an interview on this day, and it's really a good idea to keep a list of due dates so you don't fall behind, especially when you get into the school year, because a lot of dates are going to be thrown at you. I began in the summer. You have a lot more free time, even if you work. You have a lot more free time than if you're doing homework and stuff, and scholarships sometimes can be put on the back burner against the homework and stuff. So I definitely say start in the summer, less stress during the school year. A lot of scholarships won't be available to you in the summer, but there are some. So take advantage of those while you can. And a lot of people, you'll have the advantage of a lot of people won't think to fill out scholarships yet, and so you'll be one of the few that applies, and hopefully you'll get it. If you also start early, like say you find a scholarship that's due in December and you can start filling out the application in August, do it so that you have time to make corrections and you have time for people to proofread it, especially if you have an essay involved. How to kind of research scholarships and find what's out there for you. Once you kind of decide what college you're going to go to, whether you get accepted or not, or whether you decide to go there or not, a lot of them will have not only scholarships that are good for that school. Like I said, I got $30,000 just from NYU, but they will also have lists of their other national scholarships. They won't have, you know, the Jasper Eagles scholarship there, but they'll have bigger name scholarships like the Horatio Alger, and they'll have information on there on how to fill this out. Also online, there's different tools. I believe one is called www.scholarship.com, which is a search engine for scholarships. You kind of fill out an application on the site, and it searches and finds the scholarships that best fit you. There are others out there that you have to pay money for. I don't suggest doing that. Usually they're a scam. Also, not only just like search engines, but scholarships that make you pay money. Like I got one in the mail that was like, if you mail us $20 in your application, then you are eligible for a $20,000 scholarship. Don't do it, because no scholarship should ever ask you for any money. So be wary of that, because you probably will get some of those in the mail. Your high school guidance department is only there to help you, but they're definitely not going to go out of their way to give you scholarships. I know at Jasper, what they do is in January, they have a packet of local scholarships, which is like how I got the student council and the Eagles and the Optimist Club. But they won't have in there the ones that are national, like the Horatio Alger. But they do have that information on hand if you go to them. So I would suggest at the beginning of the school year, go to your high school guidance department, say, hey, I want to start filling out scholarships. Do you know which ones are available at this time? And they should have a pretty good list, or can help you get some of the ones that you can fill out. But like I said, they're not going to take the initiative to go, hey, here are the scholarships that are available for you. You're going to have to find that out on your own. Like the Du Bois Herald or your local paper, and also magazines, will also have a lot of times post scholarship contests or anything like that, in kind of the club or organization section. And so you can kind of find some on there. And then one thing I want to tell you is that you need to continuously research. I found out that I got the Horatio Alger scholarship in December, and I didn't stop there. I kept looking for more and more scholarships, because I knew that wasn't enough to get to where I needed. You can never have enough money for college. If anything, if you end up having too much money, you at least get to pocket it. So definitely keep looking, even if you get a couple of scholarships. For your resume, most applications, whether it's in the application or a separate thing, will ask you to have a resume. I'm not going to go over how to do that. You can find tools online. Is that something? Like sometimes if you take a business class, they'll teach you how to do it. But it's really easy if you go to like a business teacher, or you can find steps online, and there's a resume wizard on Word if you ever need help with that.
Gives you a template.
Yeah, exactly. But kind of how to set up your resume. One tip is to list by most prestigious. What I mean by that is, if you were involved in soccer for 2 years but then you quit, don't put that at the top of your list of activities. Always list the ones that are most prestigious. So if you were, president of your class all 4 years, make sure you put that first, because sometimes colleges just skim your resume, and if that's the first thing they see is 2-year soccer player, they might not even go down the rest of it. So always impress them right away. Try to only use high school activities. Don't use stuff from middle school. Try to keep it in high school. Make sure you emphasize leadership roles, but don't include minor details. So kind of what I mean by that, like in BPA, I competed in a lot of events, and like I placed in not district and state levels, but I didn't put that on my resume. I just put that I was state president of Indiana. Because those minor details they're not going to worry about, that you really want to impress them. Like, your resume is the time and place where you can brag on yourself, where gloating about who you are is not going to be looked at as bad. So you always want to put your most prestigious things on there. As far as essays, A lot of scholarships will ask for essays, some won't, but most of the time they'll give you their own unique prompt. It's usually something cheesy, like if you were stuck on an island, like what items would you bring with you, or who's the most influential person in your life. But as common as those essay topics might be, try to be different. They're going to read thousands of applicants, and if you can stand out in any way, it's good. And I kind of put this in the wrong place, but at the bottom it says personality, so be obvious with your personality. Try to get across who you are, because that's what they want. They want to be able to read your essay and look at your resume and know who they're going to bring into their college. So an essay is a perfect time to do that. As I said before, if you start early with your essays, you have time to have multiple people proofread it, and that's always a good idea. What some person sees, another person might miss, and there's always room for improvement. And especially as high school students, we don't always know the best way to word something, and it's really good to have adult proofreaders and different levels of people, like a business teacher or an entrepreneur, or your boss at work, like whatever you can grab at. They're going to have different inputs for you. And then, like I said, most of the prompts are usually different, but I did have a couple this year that were almost the same thing. I had to change just a few sentences around to kind of make them work. But try to reuse your essays if you can. There's no sense in writing a 5-page essay twice. So make sure you save all your stuff, and only if you have to change like one paragraph and it to fit the next scholarship, it's a good idea to do that, because they're not going to know, and it's not cheating. You already wrote the essay, you might as well use it twice. So.
Probably a good idea is to create a folder, a Word folder of scholarship. Basically name it scholarship and make that, everything that you're doing is in that scholarship folder.
Yeah, I did. Every time I fill out something, I saved it and made sure I had it on hand. Yeah. As I stated before, making good relationships with adults is a really good idea. Teachers, advisors, anybody. Like I said, Vicki is a good one for me. My BPA advisor and state advisor was awesome for me. So try to create good relationships early, especially as a freshman. My business teacher was instantly impressed with me as a freshman, and she helped me progress more than she did the other students. Not saying that that's not fair, but she knew the potential in me, and it's good to show that potential early. And create a good relationship there. And whenever you ask someone to write a letter for you, make sure you give them plenty of notice. Don't say my scholarship is due in 2 days and I need my recommendation letter. As soon as you find out about the scholarship, let them know that they're going to be the one writing the recommendation letter, so they have a time to write a good letter, just like you have a good amount of time to write the essay and whatnot.
But probably you want to also give them a little focus of what to put in there, or have you not guided it at all?
Yeah, no, that's what I'm getting at.
Oh, okay.
One thing that's good, especially if the teacher doesn't, or advisor doesn't know a lot about you, but just kind of knows who you are in the school, it's a good idea to just go ahead and make like a fact sheet about yourself, and put what clubs you're involved in, your GPA and your class rank, where you work and stuff like that, because then when they're writing their letter, they'll put all that information in there. Along with that, make sure that the person writing the letter knows about the scholarship, because it's really good if the recommendation letter can include details about the scholarship. So I would provide that stuff for them. It's going to make it easier on them, and they're going to appreciate it a lot more. I kind of already said this, but use a variety of knowledgeable contacts. Make sure that people know someone about you. Don't ask like a complete stranger or someone you just met, even if they do need a fact sheet to kind of write out. Like my business teacher still kind of needed a fact sheet of me to know what other activities I was involved in. So make sure they semi-know you. And like I said, try to get a good variety of people, so you don't have like all your coaches, but you also use teachers or advisors or bosses or people within the town. And then one thing you always want to be sure of is after they write you a recommendation letter to thank them in some way, whether it's with a letter or a gift or something like that. It's appreciated. When you go to submit your scholarship, a lot of times it'll be online, but sometimes you'll have to actually mail stuff in. Make sure that everything is included, double check, triple check, just to make sure that everything is in there, because if you're missing one thing, they're just going to throw you out right away. So make sure everything's in there. What I did is I had like manila envelopes that were paper sized, and then I made my own labels, so I didn't have to like write on the envelope to send it in, and it looks a lot more professional and like you cared and took the time to do it. I think that's like a good first impression. It's just in the envelope that they get. Make sure you find out when the scholarship is going to be announced, and make sure you keep track of your email or phone, because normally that's how they will contact you that you got it. And sometimes you'll have to reply within a week saying that you accept the scholarship and you accept being a scholar within that organization. So you always want to make sure you know the date it's going to be announced, and make sure you constantly check your contacts. If you're chosen, remember that just because you got one scholarship doesn't mean that you can stop. Try to keep going and submit more until you have enough money that you need to go to the college that you want. And a lot of times it's not just about covering tuition and housing, but maybe you win a $1,000 scholarship and you can get a new laptop with it. So always look for more scholarships. Be knowledgeable of future requirements. For my Horatio Alger scholarship, I have to, over the course of 4 years, I have to keep in contact with the organization. If I don't do that, I will be put on probation and I won't get any money. So make sure that you read whenever you get your scholarship if there's anything you have to do besides just getting it. Another thing is, for my Point scholarship, I have to do a community service project each year on my college. So if I don't do that, I don't get the money. So make sure that you know everything that you have to do past that. Same thing with the recommendation letters. Make sure you write thank you letters to your scholarships, because they're giving you lots of money, and just writing a simple thank you letter is the least that you can do for that. Another thing, this is kind of at the bottom, a lot of times you can become alumni members in the organization, or you can go to their events and stuff just to show that you are appreciative of what they gave to you. Even staying in contact with them after college, I think, is a good rule of thumb. I haven't really gotten to that spot yet, but I plan to keep in contact with BPA and Horatio Alger just because they gave me my future, and it's good that you can keep in contact with them. And if you're chosen, try to make contacts from your scholarship. Like I said, I met Leonardo DiCaprio, and you never know who you're going to come in contact with. So keep an open mind when it comes to that. So I named this presentation "Entrepreneur Yourself." It doesn't really read like that, but it kind of looks cool. And then kind of what I meant by that is learning to, like, you're kind of learning from the boot camp here how the skills that you need to kind of make your own business and to make your own future. And what I'm trying to focus on here is where you are the product. You're trying to build your resume, build who you are, so that you can sell yourself to the colleges and scholarships, which is totally important, because, I mean, you're going to be your biggest fan when it comes down to it, and selling yourself to these colleges and scholarships. And I listed all the ways that you can do that. Explore and excel in high school. Try to find different interests and what you like. Make sure you take advantage of leadership roles. Establish good relationships with your teachers and friends. One thing I didn't mention earlier, but is a good thing to keep, and I'm not up here to give peer pressure talk or anti-drinking or drugs, but it is a good idea to have a good group of friends when you come to high school, because if they're excelling, you're gonna feel stupid if you're not excelling either in your friend group, and they're gonna push you in the right direction. I know my friends have, and like I thank them all the time for it. And entrepreneur skills is perfect, and it's what you're learning from Vicky. And finding scholarships. I mean, I basically paid for my entire college, which is a huge expense that a lot of people don't have the luxury of doing. And it's only going to remove relief off my shoulders. Like, when I got my first scholarship, it was only $5,000 a year, which was nothing for NYU. And it just, like, I felt this weight go off my shoulders, like, wow, I can actually do this, I can get money. And it kind of became like an addiction. It's like, wow, if I can get that scholarship, wow, I wonder how much more I can get. And that's when I started, like, applying like crazy, and eventually I had my college paid for. And like I said, you become your biggest fan. Like, you need to be confident in yourself, know who you are, know where you want to go, and you can combine all that and be your biggest fan, and hopefully the college and the scholarship will see that and pick you. So that's the end of my presentation, and feel free to ask any questions or comments that you have.
I have a few questions. You said like soccer, if you just play like 1 year or something, you don't want to put that at the top, but what if you're like a 4-year varsity letter sport? You want to put that up there?
Yeah, that's definitely something you want to be proud of because it showed that you were committed to that sport for 4 years. Yeah, definitely.
Alright, and then what other schools are you interested in besides NYU?
Well, basically came down to IU or NYU. I had my mindset on NYU, but I didn't think I could afford it. Like if I would have went to IU, I would have had everything paid for with like the first couple of scholarships that I went to, but I want to go into film, and it's not the play. They don't even have film as a major, so as soon as I knew I could go to NYU, I just went. But I really wasn't interested in anything else, but I do know about some colleges if you have questions about a certain one.
No.
No, yeah.
There's a few I want to go to, but...
Yeah, and it's a good, like, I had the luxury of just kind of knowing where I wanted to go, and a lot of people don't have that. I know my friend, he applied to 10 places, and it's just kind of like, I mean, to each its own, like, and I'm not saying I'm better because I only had one school that I wanted to go to. Like, it's good to kind of look at all those schools, go visit them, research their websites, and talk to maybe some graduating seniors who are going there and kind of see why they're going there. And that's kind of how I picked NYU.
What was the website again for finding scholarships?
I believe it's www.scholarships.com.
Okay.
But if you just Google scholarships, like you'll find like those search engines that I was talking about, but never pay money, like I said.
Tommy, when did you kind of give us a timeline on when did you find out about each of the scholarships? What time of your senior year,
Sure.
or did you just find out about NYU in the last
Yeah.
weeks?
Yeah, NYU is a lot different than a lot of other schools in that they're late. I didn't find out that I got accepted there until even April 1st, but I knew I got accepted into IU in October. So it kind of just depends on the school as far as that goes. What?
I said that's nerve-wracking.
Yeah, it was.
My friend's wanting to go to NYU too.
Oh, cool.
So you
He's
got
actually there right
accepted
now.
April 1. When did you find out you had the scholarship? Same time or
The,
no?
the scholarship from NYU?
Yes.
Same time,
You
yeah.
knew
Around
that.
that era. Well, I was kind of a unique situation too because my financial aid got messed up. And they sent me a financial aid letter that was totally unaccommodating. It had about $5,000 worth of money. And so I told them, I sent them an email saying, I don't think this is right. Like, I should have gotten more money than this. And they had to recalculate it, and I ended up getting like $30,000.
Yeah, so I wondered when you found out about
I didn't find that out until after graduation.
Yeah, I thought so.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's when you said, okay, this can work.
But normally people would have, if I hadn't gotten my financial aid letters messed up, they would have known about mid-April.
Well, these guys, one of the things we talked about, and there's a few things that I think about, one of the cool things about entrepreneurship, teaching this now, is it is about leadership skills. But it's also about a time of self-assessment when you can really look at who you are as an individual and really think about how who you are plays in your future.
Exactly.
Yeah, and it's good stuff. Can you think back to like when you were 8th grade, gonna be a freshman, anything that you knew were maybe hurdles for yourself that you had to overcome?
Well, I always knew that I wanted to make money whenever I got older, and like when I looked at wanting to go into film, I kind of like associated that with like not making any money because it's something that you really got to be good at and really have to have the connections for to excel in it. Like even if you are really good, if you don't get the exposure, you're never going to get seen. And so I kind of had to focus on whether or not I wanted to take that risk and to go into something I liked, or to like go into medicine, which I knew I could do, but I knew I wouldn't be happy with. And so that was like an issue for me freshman year. But once I started taking like art classes and business classes, like there's no way I can do medicine. Like I definitely want to go into art. And so that was like a challenge going into freshman year. And even some people, that was their problem senior year. And it's just, like I said, everyone's different, and that's why it's good to try to explore your interests, because you never know what you're going to stumble upon that you like. Like, I didn't know I wanted to go into film until, like, I kind of got interested in it in 8th grade whenever I took, like, this tech class. It wasn't even about film, but one of the things we could do in there was make a movie, and I made it, and I really enjoyed it, and that's kind of whenever I decided I wanted to go into it. And, like, I had never done a theater production, And so I was a freshman, and then once I did it, that's when I kind of decided that I wanted to do like film or theater production. And so like just joining that performing arts club when I got to high school, it just kind of helped me.
Yeah. Well, you were in the beginning of your senior year. I remember you talking about maybe wanting to start your own movie production.
Yeah, that's kind of what I want to do.
And you still do. And so, do you want to tell them a little bit about a niche that maybe you think you would be interested in? Because didn't you have sort of a niche idea? Or just in general? Because it seemed like you had sort of some ideas of a unique approach to doing a production.
Yeah, well, I've always kind of looked at people, like, I feel like film in the general public isn't as risky as it could be. I feel like sometimes it's really cliche, like the love movies are very cliche and whatnot, and I think that someone could really be successful if they started doing stuff against the wall. And doing things like, a lot of times issues within our world I don't think are in movies, like right now, like gay rights and AIDS and like terrorism and stuff. It's like right at the forefront of who we are in America right now, and it's like that's not really shown in movies. And I think
Sort of a different approach to reality TV,
yeah,
possibly?
reality TV, but in movies.
Yeah. Oh, good.
And I want to, like, I want to focus on documentaries, and I don't really know what I want to do exactly, but.
Well, one of the things we talked about a few times already, and these guys, second night we've met, think about yourself as you move through college and what's available to you in New York City. Have you thought about multiple streams of income of things you can do while you're in New York City to make some money? Yeah,
exactly. Like, I completely want to keep doing my eBay business because it's easy money if you've never done it. It really is. Especially, like I know one of my friends, it's a girl, is she goes through clothes like crazy. So she'll have me sell her clothes on eBay, and so she'll pretty much make back exactly how much she spent on it, about maybe like $5 or $10 less, and she'll go out and buy new clothes, and it's just like recycling that stuff. And I plan on doing that in college, and I don't know. I'm waiting. Like I said, I'm gonna take what I just put in my presentation, and then hopefully at the end of my senior year in college, I'll be able to give that same presentation there on a college level. Because being a freshman going into college, I'm going to take those same, I'm going to act like I'm a freshman in high school as far as taking control of opportunities and finding new interests that I like, but in a college level.
Well, one of the neat things that teaching entrepreneurship like this is also, even teaching eBay, it's a great way to understand time management. Do you want to go to work at Wendy's in New York City for $9.50 an hour?
Yeah.
Or do you want to do some eBay stuff where maybe you can put 6 hours a week into it and make $150 or whatever your spending money is?
Yeah.
It's a great way to look at entrepreneurship in a time management standpoint that, hey, you need to put as little time into making what money you need because you want to focus on the other great things that you're there for.
Exactly. And like I've been told that for every hour you spend in class, you need to spend studying, and like I want to do that. Like I'm not paying $60,000 a year out of my pocket, but I kind of am paying $60,000 a year to go to this school, and I'm not going there to work. I'm going there to study and get my education.
I would say that.
Yeah.
5 to 10 hours a week of work and no more.
Yeah, exactly.
And you know, one of the neat things I've gotten recently, surprisingly, is the TJ Maxx deal. You know, in July they do major clearances. You can buy $90 dresses for $3.
Mm-hmm.
I think your ability to have those opportunities in that area is going to be amazing.
Oh yeah, and that's why I always knew I wanted to go to NYU or some big city, because the opportunities is so much better.
Mm-hmm.
For what
I'm
I
really
want to
envious.
go, for what I want to go into at least.
I love New York City. I've only been once, and it was last August.
Oh yeah.
And I loved it. It's an amazing city.
And now you have a place to stay.
Believe me, Tommy. I already told Philip, I was like, you know, I don't know how many times I'm going to go a year, but it's going to change my interest in going.
Yeah.
And you know, Tommy, one thing I want you to know and to think about is as you're there, you know, I do so many lot inventory sales. Like you find somebody up there that needs to sell or sell an entire restaurant, the contents. If you are up there and able to do some of that, just like you go into a company that's shutting a restaurant down and they need to get everything out of there in 30 days, I can help you. These are deals where you could put 4 hours into it and make $2,500.
Yeah.
So I wanna give you that idea that when you're there, that if you spend 3 hours a month going through Craigslist New York City, you could use our business model, do it under Cardinal Selling Services because of the power our website can bring you, and maybe be doing some of those deals up there.
Yeah, sounds great. And
Yeah, so we'll have to think about that.
like I said, I'm excited just to get there because like I have these contacts now and I have these networking things that I just got a year ago from these scholarships, and I haven't been able to use them yet because I've been in high school, I've been stuck in high school, I haven't had the opportunity, and now is my time where I can take advantage of everything I've been given, and like I'm just waiting to see what
It's your time
happens.
to fly.
Exactly.
I feel so sorry for your mother. I know it's gotta be hard on her.
Oh yeah.
Ugh. So anyway,
I have a quick question. A lot of us have been like taking SATs recently, and like I actually didn't take it till just this summer, like, and I know it's kind of late. But would you say that like I know there's like a lot of books and a lot of classes you can take to improve your SAT scores? Would you say that's worthwhile, or really the scholarships and
Like
classes?
I think that it doesn't hurt. I didn't do any of that, and I got a pretty high score, but like you could blame that on a lot of things. Like maybe I just knew things better than before. Maybe I got lucky with my guessing and whatnot. I never took a course, and I knew people who did, and they didn't really improve their score. So I would say, but I've heard other things. I've heard that some people will go and get tutored for it and come out and raise their score by like 200 points. So I guess it's just, if you have the extra money and you want to do it, I don't think it would hurt you.
Yeah.
well, I think what speech you've just given, if you think about a very small amount of time it would take you to prepare a letter to the high schools in the New York City area, maybe it's 25 letters that go out to the guidance counselor. You could go out and give a speech like this to the freshmen or whatever and charge $450, Tommy, and have plenty of work ahead of you just to cover the main schools.
Exactly. Yeah.
And probably look at the private schools. So, you know, it wouldn't take you that long to prepare a mailing list and to do a letter, but this is some dynamite info.
Yeah, it's something that I was never given.
Exactly.
And like I said, I don't claim to be an expert. It's just that's kind of the process that I went through, and I think like it's a good model for what to do, even if you change it around a little bit.
Well, as you move forward through this next 4 years, I think about your ability to blog what you've got going, and I don't know all the ins and outs of blogging, but I think including some of this material within a blog could be a way for people to reach out and find you, like ACTE. I deal so much with that versus BPA. I would love to pass along your name and what value you've got.
Yeah.
So if they would contact you for speaking, $1,000 would be cheap for you to charge them. So just think about that.
Cool.
Yeah.
And hopefully I can polish it. Like I said, I just made this last week.
Yeah, this is a great start.
Yeah. So I hope to.
Yeah, and the video, hopefully it made it all the way through to the end. I'll check. I'll give you the copy of it before I do anything with it.